Jesus didn't have a problem with people that's in the streets. He had a problem with religious people.
How can I help anybody when I was not even able to help my own son?
I would never do that. And I became that in a matter of minutes when they took my pain pills away.
And I said, I'm not where I want to be, but thank God I'm not what I used to be.
This is Faith in Your Recovery. I am Randy Davis. Welcome to the battle.
Hello, folks. This is Eric sitting in for Randy. He's still out sick. So I'm here for all the episodes. I'm on the back end. I just produced Randy's show for him, and today going to sit in and give it a test drive as a host. In the studio today, we have Mike from Philly.
Yes. Yeah, originally from Philadelphia. Yep.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, where do you want to start?
So my name is Mike, Mike Gliem. Originally from Philadelphia, currently reside in Delaware. I'm also the founder of Recovery Army Outreach, Inc., based out of Philadelphia. We service Kensington, Philadelphia, where I spent a lot of time, 7-8 years straight homeless on the streets. Just hopeless and homeless,
Sure.
Due to substance use, alcoholism, mental health issues. Glad to be here today.
Yeah, man, it's a pleasure to have you for sure. You've got a lot of experience doing various things, and listeners, he's got a lot going on. We're going to include all these links into the show description, so you don't have to, try to write everything down, because he's an author, speaks.
Yes.
He's got a lot to give. So
where to begin? The intro to begin for one. I love that. I absolutely love that intro. Powerful. For me, I'm so blessed and grateful, man, to be just to be able to do what I do today. I'm grateful to be anywhere, to be alive today. Statistically, absolutely should not be. I suffer from addiction and alcoholism for over 20 years of my life. Just this past June last year, earned 8 years clean and sober. God sustains my recovery for sure. Faith is the foundation of my recovery. I had a pretty big spiritual awakening in an ICU room in hospital, in an ICU room in Philadelphia in 2014. And I'll kind of give you kind of the turning point of where things changed. And then I can kind of go back and tell you kind of what led to that. But I woke up in 2014 in an ICU room in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and didn't know how I got there, didn't know what happened. And I looked down from, being unconscious, and I looked down and look at my body. So there's tubes coming out and, IVs and machines and everything like this. And I have no idea where I am. I'm scanning the room, don't know what's going on. And I look up at, the whiteboards they have there in the room, and they list the nurse's name and the tech's name and patient's name. And I see patient name as a John Doe. And I look in the mirror, and I'm looking at a complete stranger. I don't even know who I'm looking at. And I see this guy it's me, and I don't even know I just don't know who this person is. And the left side of my head was shaved, and it had a horseshoe incision closed with 30 staples. And, obviously I'm thinking this is some kind of nightmare, like hoping this is not reality. Unfortunately it was. That was my reality at that point in my life. And, it was, life-changing for sure. There's been a lot of pain along the way, a lot of I can't even count how many hospitals, institutions, jails, along the way. But this time I finally threw the white flag up, and I come to find out that, what it was I put myself in a situation, given the lifestyle that I was living, and someone actually attempted to take my life for $20 one day. And actually, it was a physical altercation. I thought I had the upper hand. I started walking away. And little did I know the guy went back in his house and came out from behind me and hit me on the side of the head with a hammer and tried to take my life.
So that's the staples.
Yep. So that's what put me there. And from that point on, I'll tell you, I didn't know my name, didn't know who I was. Didn't know how I got there, didn't know anything. I grew up in a Christian household, right? So, but it was religion to me then, right? I didn't know anything about spirituality. We'd go to church on Sunday and leave it there. And it really wasn't spoken about during the week, really. And, this was different. I truly felt like I was in direct contact with my creator at this point in this ICU room. And, I couldn't, like I said, I couldn't remember anything. I couldn't walk, I couldn't talk, and I couldn't write. I was literally kind of a vegetable there in the hospital bed. And the only thing I could remember was scripture. That was the only thing that I could remember. And it was almost like it was being read to me by a third person, and just recited into my ear, just verses from the Bible. And the biggest one was, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And that was life-changing for me. And I didn't understand it at the time, obviously. Like, I have no idea who I am. I don't know how I got here. I don't know anything. And I hear this voice telling me things. I start to think, I'm like, okay, maybe I'm schizophrenic. I'm hearing things. I don't know what it is. But whatever it is, I'm going to listen. Like, and then, came a sense of accountability that came with that, and that was the fact that, like, what I did know is that whatever put me here, whatever put me in this place and in this situation, it was my fault. Like, I had to take accountability that I likely, given a lifestyle that I lived, that was, it was my fault that I'm in this position. So I listened to that voice that was talking to me, and I really kind of soaked it in. And then that was the only line of communication I had. I couldn't speak to the nurses. I couldn't speak to the doctors. Like, I literally couldn't verbalize anything. So I left that line of communication open. I listened and I spoke, through prayer. Like, I pray. I don't wish. I have a God. I don't have a genie. You know what I mean?
Right,
like, that's
right. Yeah, there is a difference.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Right. I don't make wishes. I pray. And so, and it was a game changer for me, man. Holding on to that, it was a solid just reconnection to my faith and God. And man, everything really started changing after that. That first year after the incident, was full of pain. I mean, the physical therapy that went into it, and vocational therapy, speech therapy, like, I really busted my butt for, 5-6 days a week, hours in, hours out every single day, to get back to kind of where I needed to get for that whole first year. Extremely painful. Was starting to be, making progress for sure. Even after a year of that, I checked myself into a psych hospital. And at this point, I threw the white flag up, as far as drugs and alcohol.
So you've been clean at this point.
Yeah. So after this happened, like, that was enough, because that's how deep rooted it was in me. And that's how long I did it for, and it was just ingrained in my DNA, I felt like, at that point, because I woke up and didn't know, like I said, who I was or anything like that, but I knew I was an addict. I still had an obsession. Like, I still had an obsession, and I didn't even know who I was. Like, that's how deep-rooted it was, and how it became, and how programmed I was living that lifestyle and always resorting to that. And I was able to identify that. And I know that was kind of revealed to me through him. Like, it wasn't something I should have or could have or would have been able to realize myself. But it was kind of like told to me. So I knew, like, I can't take, and mind you, I mean, it's a pretty pretty severe injury.
Yeah.
So they're trying to give me all kinds of pain meds for sure, and I refused. So, like, I was able to, like, at least, like, wave them off, like, no, like, and I knew, if I did, I knew where it would take me, and where I was at that point, the next stop was death. Like, there was no question about it. I really felt like once I finally came to, and after that year, second year, third year, and really started, realizing all the things I've lost in my life, and, whether it be the material things time and time again, houses, cars, and, all these kind of things. But, most importantly, I lost my family. I lost my children. I lost myself, and it was like, that's what I needed to get back and really truly focus on. So enough was enough for me, and I finally threw the white flag up, and that's when I finally decided to finally believe in myself, which I never did before. Like, I never thought I'd ever be able to do it. Never thought I'd ever be able to stop using or lying, manipulating, stealing, cheating, all these things, though.
Right.
All these things that come with that territory.
Kind of the tools of the trade.
Yeah. And the whole lifestyle, the drama involved, and just, everything like that. And, luckily, I was earning these things back. And after a year, I still really, so I finally got back on my feet. I started being able to walk and speak. Terrible stutter. Like, it was really tough. I knew what I wanted to say a lot of times, but just couldn't literally verbalize it. So it would, like, just come out super mumbled, and I'm stumbling on words. And, like I said, I'm back on my feet. So like a year after the injury, I checked myself into this psychiatric hospital. And because I just still wasn't there, like mentally, I knew I still needed some professional help to kind of get me over the trauma and kind of get me where I need to be. And, you know, I'm there for, it's usually like a 14-day program. And then people get kind of resources for outside for primary therapists, stuff like that. I'm there for 3 months. You know, my insurance cut me off after 14 days. They scholarship me the rest of the stay because of the condition I was in. They really didn't know what to do with me, and they're trying their best with me. They test me 3 different times cognitively over that three-month period, and each time they came back and told me I'm mentally incapable, I'm mentally handicapped. And that they finally a doctor comes and a case manager and caseworker, social worker comes and says, you know, after 3 months, I think our best suggestion for you at this point is to just transfer you to a traumatic brain institute and just live the rest of your days there. And
that's not a good.
No. So I'm 32 years old at this time, and you know, I couldn't accept that. You know, like acceptance is a big part of my story. I accepted, you know, my lifestyle and how things were and everything. I accepted I can't use, I can't drink, you know, and all these things. But that's one thing I could not accept. Like I knew I was making progress. They just didn't see it. But I felt it, and I knew there was more. I knew God was calling. There was a higher calling for me. I knew it. I knew there was more in store for me. And I knew that I finally understood that all that pain, everything that I went through for over 2 decades was for a reason. It was for a purpose, you know, to get through it and be able to go back and show people there is a way out, you know, and show people that are in my situation or hopefully that never get to my situation. So, you know, if I speak to high schools and things like that, like to try to be, you know, preventative and hopefully they don't get to that point. But even the ones that are absolutely, you know, considered lost or feel broken or, you know, whatever, forgotten, unwanted, you know, like those are people I speak to. You know, those are people that I reach out to. Like, I don't speak for all these successful people that seem to have everything figured out. Yeah. You know, that's just not my cup of tea, you know, like more power to you. But, you know, like I want to save lives. I want to help people, and I want people to restore themselves and find themselves and what they were put on this planet to do. And, you know, luckily I've been able to do that. But yeah, it was tough. So I absolutely refused that. You know, as soon as they told me that, I had a vivid image of a nurse or a tech pushing me up to a window in a wheelchair at 32 years old and just staring out a window all day.
Yeah, no, that's
and
not.
No, and I just everything in me said no. Like there's more for you. Like the best is yet to come. There's more. Like I need you to.
Phase 2.
Yeah, exactly. Like yeah, a complete rebirth. Honestly, is what it was. And like. And I can say that in a literal sense because, like, my brain was, like, rewired when that happened. So I feel like all the stuff that I lost before, including myself after this injury, I feel like really it was, like, you know, God's kind of way of telling me, who was there all along the whole time and gave me out. And I was just so tunnel visioned on the lifestyle I was living, I just didn't see him. You know, and I wasn't paying attention to him. And I feel like this happened for a reason. You know,
it was there
like
the whole time.
Yeah, and I really feel like it was allowed to happen to me because I feel like at this point so much has been taken from me in my life and throughout this terrible journey of really hell on earth. You know, it's like I just had to I lost my train of thought.
No, you're good. Well, let me ask you this while you're pulling it.
Yeah.
Did anyone come to claim you at the hospital?
No.
So at what point did you know who you were? Did they have someone to call? And then when they made that call, what happened?
Yeah, none of that.
So you were on your own.
Oh yeah, man. So I'll tell you. So a good 10 years of that, no connection with family whatsoever. 7 to 8 years were straight years homeless on the streets of Kensington, Philadelphia, which is really like a third world country right now. I mean, it's probably the biggest open drug market there is in the country, if not the world. It's really terrible things that are going on there now.
Yeah, they're shutting down Wawas and stuff around there, which is a big deal for.
If you can, in that area, if you got to shut down a Wawa, that's a problem.
Right,
something's going on.
Right.
Yeah, it's not good. There was no contact. There was no emergency. And I can give them a name, but no one's going to answer that phone. And all those times in the jails, the institutions, I wrote letters, return to
Crickets.
sender. Yeah. I make a phone call, change number.
So it was their choice. So they let them know you were there and they chose to just leave you there.
They didn't even know because we were so astray at that point. they didn't know where I was. They didn't know if I was alive or dead, honestly. It wasn't until almost 2 years after that I was able to reconnect with my family. And I kind of expressed what happened, where I'm at now in my life. I'm doing better. And I've earned those relationships back with my mother, my father, my children. They're all in my life now.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah. It was extremely, a lot of work.
How many years were you lying and manipulating with them?
Oh, since I was 12 years old.
So,
yeah,
even if it takes 15 years to build that relationship.
Yeah. 100%. So, whatever it took, yeah. So, and that's what I did. And the biggest thing I could do was take accountability for my actions, apologize for the things I've done, and not expect them to forgive me. It is what it is. This is what I did. I take ownership of it, and I'm sorry. I'm truly sorry for doing these things and the people that I've hurt and the things that I've done. Whether it be physical, emotional, mentally, however it was, to take accountability for those things. And luckily, it was just making that living amends and just continuously, just to continue to put in the effort and just let my actions speak louder than my words. Because at that point, I've said everything. Under the sun until my face turned blue and said, and it meant nothing,
right.
And it was a complete lie, a complete facade, until this point. And then my actions really started showing, my attitude and my behaviors really started showing change. That other people noticed. And my family took a notice of that. And now it's amazing because it's crazy how the tables turned where, now, I bought a home out in Delaware. And now, mind you, I have, I'm engaged now with my fiance, Jen, and she has 2 children. I have 3 children, so we have 5 children together. And they're all in my life. We have 1 on the way. We have our 6th now on the way.
Wow.
So it's a handful. Yeah, it's tough. But it was crazy. It's amazing because, we buy a house and my mother and father move into an in-law quarters. And they're pretty much retired, and it's there's going to come a time when they need help too. And I'm there now to be that person because I'm reliable now, I'm dependable. When they need something, they know, and now my mother will come to me for suggestions or encouragement or whatever it may be. And it's just amazing how the tables have turned.
Yeah, that's a whole new thing.
I'm literally almost speechless about it. Just thinking about it is wow. How does that, from what it was to what it is now, that's God right there, man. I can't even explain. That's something I could not have done on my own. God still moves, man. He's working, and he's working. So, and he's been able to show me, and like I said, what I was trying to say before actually was, I really felt like it came a time in my life where okay, I've given you this many outs. I've given you this many opportunities to get better and change your situation. You're not listening, I need you to, because you're being called higher. I have a higher calling for you. So I really need you to listen. So here's what's going to happen. I'm going to take everything from you this time. You're going to lose your voice. You're not going to be able to walk. You're not going to be able to write. You're not going to be able to do any of these things. And you're going to have to rebuild yourself literally from absolutely nothing. And in hindsight, that's how I was finally able to understand it and see it. So it's so crazy because now I had that line of communication open and the guidance to do everything differently, everything in a complete 180 direction, and for positivity and, to help encourage growth in others, and just hold that relationship open with my Savior. Right. And man, I'll tell you what, man, things really started changing. So, the people and the doctors, especially, that told me, 50% of people within 5 years of that injury die. Most of the time, the other 50% decline severely in mental capacity. And you can hear me speak to you today, you would have never known.
Never would have known, right?
Right. And that's it to me. I'm an underdog. I beat these odds. And not only that, all these doctors and everybody could tell me all these things I couldn't do. And it always just bothered me, right? I know I'm capable, right? I just need the drive, the willpower, and just him in my corner to be able to do these things and overcome the obstacles and the struggles that are going to come into my life as these things happen, as I'm trying to chase these goals and his plan for me. And so they told me I wouldn't be able to write. And last year I published my own book, You know, I wrote it, I edited it, I self-published it. You know, they told me I wouldn't speak, and like here I am speaking.
What's the title of the book?
It's called Truth Be Told, the story of an addict turned advocate.
And
Journey Out of the Darkness.
where is it available?
So it's available on Amazon, and then also on my nonprofit's website, recoveryarmyoutreach.com. I have the ebook on there. And then when people contact me directly, I send signed copies out personally to them as well. But you can Google my name. It's little did I know when I wrote the book how many books were titled Truth Be Told and that were on Amazon.
Oh, I'm sure.
There's
Yeah.
so many. So, yeah, you can Google my name, Mike Gliem, Gliem, M as in Mary. And you'll see a bunch of links and stuff that I'm involved with and, you know, things to catch up with. And there's an Amazon link there and ways to reach me and stuff as well. But yeah, like I said, like they told me I couldn't do that, and I did that. You know, they told me I wouldn't speak, and that's what I do on a professional level now. You know, I get to travel and speak. You know, at high schools, treatment centers, institutions, things like that. You know, podcasts. And I did a season called "The Stigma Ends Here" with a friend of mine, Travis from Gliem for Recovery. It's a nonprofit based out of Maine. We did a season of that. We're going to roll out a second season. And, you know, it's just amazing. Like the things like they told me I couldn't do that, you know, with God in my corner, like I've done them all. So it's like now I'm at a point where I invite those challenges into my life, you know, and the more it's just different challenges I face now than I did when I was in active addiction and alcoholism and everything like that. Now it's just, you know, I'm given more responsibility. I'm given more things to be responsible for and people to provide for and the people that depend on me in their lives and, you know, my children and, you know, everybody like that. And, you know, I'm confident in being able to do it. Like I welcome these challenges in my life. So like, I don't pray, you know, like Bruce Lee once said, like, I don't pray for an easy life, pray for the strength to endure a difficult one.
Right.
And I hold on to that. Like, it means a lot to me, that quote. And, so like, when I pray, like I don't ask him to lighten my burdens. I ask him to broaden my shoulders, like so I can carry, like give it to me. If that's what you have in store for me and that's what you want to give me and that's your will for me, I take it. I take it 100%, you know, just give me the strength to carry it,
right.
You know, but don't take him away. I'm not asking you to lighten my load. Just give me the strength to carry it and move forward.
That's great advice. Yeah. I mean, you know, hopefully people should be praying like that anyway. And
yeah.
I'm not sure it happens as much, but, you know.
Yeah.
So continue on.
Yeah. So, you know, and just to kind of, you know, backtrack some. So that was kind of like, you know, a turning point and kind of where I'm at now, things going on now. You know, I did decide a few years later after I connected with who I'm engaged with now, Jen, you know, we decided to get a group of friends that are in long-term recovery and go back to Kensington, Philadelphia, a place that kind of broke me, you know, and how bad things are there, and give back. And just be of service. So we went down with like 4 SUVs of you know, clothing, bagged lunches, toiletries, feminine products. I mean, you name it. You name it. Like we had packed cars, and it was so fulfilling. And when I'm down there, you would think that traumatic event I went through there and all those years I spent straight homeless on the street in Code Blues every summer and just living in abandoned houses and parks and concrete under the bridge, you know, under the L train or on the L train even, you know, you would think there would be a trigger or an obsession or something that way. There was never any of that. Like I always made sure I put on the armor of God before I go down. I say these prayers and I go down and and pray over my volunteers and stuff like that. And that never happens. Like the only thing that I struggled with when we did that was when coming back home, when I left there, you know, it was tough for me because I was there for so long and I can empathize so much with the people out there right now that are going through that, the same thing I went through. And now, you know, I get to help out and give these things out. But now I get to go home, you know, and they don't, you know, and I know what that's like. And that's where I struggle. That's the part I struggle with, you know. And so we did that for 1 month. We're like, and that was really amazing and fulfilling. Like, we need to do that again. So we did it the next month. Even better, we brought even more volunteers. I mean, it was even probably double with everything we did the first time. And then after that time, I really prayed on it. And I'm like, okay, I need to do this. You know, like, I really need to make this a thing. Spoke to my fiance about it, and we're like, why don't we just start a nonprofit and just do this? and we don't get a financial gain from doing it. If anything, it costs me money,
Sure,
it's, and that's not what it's about. And with my impulsive self, being a recovering addict and alcoholic, I got the okay with her also, and she got on board, and I start filing paperwork immediately, right, with the IRS and the state. And, luckily, we did become a charitable nonprofit organization. It took me 2 years to fight for our 501c3 approval. So we just got that, a few months ago. And, that's what made it a thing of doing. So now, we stepped it up since then. We bring barbers down, do free haircuts. And, you'd be amazed, when you have people who are homeless in the street and struggling like that, especially, men or women, and you'll be able to, give them a meal, give them some new clothes to wear. And I don't go down and just kind of give people what I want to give them. Like, I kind of put it out like it's like a retail kind of shop. Like, go through some stuff, pick out what you like, because when was the last time you were able to do that? And it's like that piece of humanity. Like, you get to choose some things today. Like, you get to, it just makes them feel good. And then get a fresh haircut. Like, it just makes them feel so good.
Right.
And like, that's what it's about. And so that's what we're really tuning in on doing. So, things are unfortunately at a really all-time just bad level of what's going on in that community right now. So we'll do some some outreaches down there, probably like quarterly and stuff like that throughout the year. It changes the seasons and stuff, so we can provide the different things for winter and summer and the different needs that there are. But then we'll also start to pivot more into holding open events for the community, those still sick and suffering, and then also have people come in that are resources, because that's where we kind of wanted to differentiate and kind of come down and not just give someone a meal and, a new sweatshirt and pants and a haircut, but like, I want to give you a resource to change your life. Like, I want you to be able to have, if you make the decision, I can't grab you by the hand and pull you off the street. I wish it was that easy, but, give you a resource that if you do make the decision that, I'm tired of living this way and something needs to change, that you have a phone number, you have a name. I'm here for you. You can call me and I can get you where you need to go. And whether that be any kind of treatment or whatever it is to kind of better your situation, better your circumstances, and move forward and to begin to be the person you were intended to be. We're all created on purpose and for a purpose. And, I just wish everybody was able to see, and I wish I was able to see at an earlier age than I finally did. But, things more will always be revealed. And, sometimes we have to go through some things to be able to, grow through them and understand the lesson behind it, which kind of leads to the blessing. That's kind of how I see it. Like, sure. It's just like, I'm sure you heard the quote before, how school works. You get the lesson, then you get the test, and then you leave school, and in life you get the test and you get the lesson from that. Mm-hmm. And it's like, and I feel like there's always a blessing behind that lesson. And that's what I look for. So like, I'm able to go into negative situations now and find a positive there. It's just a mindset change, and that's a kind of what started rewiring my brain after it happened. And it's crazy when I regained this back, when I said, like, I felt like he kind of had to take everything away like that, because I needed a renewal of my mind. I needed the old me had to die completely and go away in order for me to change. And like, I firmly believe that's why it happened, and that's exactly how it played out. And like, I get chills talking about it, like, because you see me now today is not what you would have seen 10 years ago, and a completely different person.
You have those photos on your website?
Not on the site, but you can find me on, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Official Recovery Mike.
And you've got some of the old pictures.
And there's mugshots and all kinds of stuff like that. And you'll see. Literally, you would not even think it's the same person. Like, everything has changed. So for the better. So it was a super long road of starting at 12, 13 years old, where it started with mental health with me, and that's why I'm a big mental health advocate too, and especially with adolescents and stuff like that. And my own kids have issues that they deal with mental health wise and stuff, and it's difficult. And not enough people talk about it, and there's not enough resources, to help, and especially with the young kids. And so I really try to make it a priority to do that as well. And because mine left untreated, man, I left mine untreated. I thought I was unique. I thought I was the only person that felt that sick mentally and had the thoughts they had and stuff like that, with suicide attempts and, you know, all those kind of things I dealt with. And, you know, it was just, you know, it's amazing the way things worked out. Even, you know, the times I attempted suicide and stuff, like, it should have been successful. I wasn't even successful. Like, I always felt like a failure, and I'm like, I tried to even attempt to take my life, and I couldn't even succeed at doing that. And I'm like, I literally can't succeed at anything at this point. Like, this is pretty bad. And but it was crazy, because then you look back and I'm like, well, that person that found me on the floor should have never been there that day. They should have never, like, you know, I made sure I was alone, you know, was away from people, shouldn't have been found in any way, however I carried these things out. And I don't really get into detail. But there was always somebody, like, and I know that was God putting them in my life at the right, like, you know, He puts people in your life for reasons, you know, some are lessons, some are blessings, you know, it is what it is, but, like, you know, and, so I made sure, because when I spoke about these things sometimes, as when I was young, 13 years old, 14 years old, and expressed how I felt, and maybe it was like a self-harm or something that I may have done. And first thing my family did was lock me up in an institution, you know, and, like, so I was kind of conditioned from that young age to not express myself, because I feel like if I tell someone how I truly feel, and I'm really open and vulnerable and honest about how I'm feeling mentally, they're going to punish me. I'm going to be locked away.
Right.
So that's
a rock and a hard place.
Right. So, like, that was ingrained in me from a very young age, to just hold it in. Don't tell anyone. And the only way I was able to finally, when I was introduced to drugs and alcohol, I said, okay, it's a lot easier to suppress these feelings with using a mind-altering substance. And so that's why I did that for so long, you know.
If you could talk to, not your own parents, but another addict's family that might be listening, and what are some advice you have to them to help them navigate this, and how do they know when someone's being sincere finally? Because, man, everybody that sits in that seat says, you know, they had this moment, it was the calling, it was a turnaround, and, you know, they want to know it's sincere.
Yeah, I think, you know, if they open up, listen, but don't, no judgment. Like, there can't be judgment there. There can't be, you know, and obviously if it's a more severe situation or something that, you know, a parent might be struggling with their child, mental health wise, or addiction, alcoholism, whatever it may be, you know, provide a resource. Like, you know, don't try to force it. Don't be judgmental. Be empathetic, be sympathetic, you know, understand, and show love and care, you know, like, and I think it goes such a long way just to do that, you know, and let them know, like, it's okay, like, you're not alone. There's a lot of people, and they themselves might have dealt with issues like that, you know, and it's like, so what would you do for yourself, you know, and try to provide, you know, a resource to be able to address the issue. And obviously sometimes it's not that easy. But then it just comes to, I think, you know, and then, you know, when people do accept the help or anything like that, and, you know, they may have been lying and manipulating to their families for how long, and it just comes down to the actions at the end of the day. You know, when so many lies have been told and things like that, like, you know, words really don't mean much anymore. You know, you can say whatever you want. When people say things, that's who they want to be. Their actions is who they are. That's who they truly are, right? Through the actions, not what they say. I can say, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do that. That's not me. Like, right, unless I carry that action out, then it becomes me. So it's just through actions and seeing the change of behavior, seeing the change of, you know, thought patterns and how they react to a lot of things, and, like, noticing those changes is when you see the progress. And commend them for that. Like, you know, be grateful for it, and, like, you know, appreciate those changes and let them know, because a lot of times people don't even realize they're making such big changes in their life and really are going the right road and making these right decisions and doing the right thing, and
celebrate little milestones.
Yeah, exactly. Celebrate with them, because a lot of times they don't even see it. Because I know there was times for me when, like, I was doing great, but I did not feel like it. I didn't feel like I was. Like, I felt like I need to be doing more. Like, I'm not, but little did I know, like, it's just nice if someone else, especially a family member or someone close to a good friend, whoever, recognizes that and addresses that to them and say, look, I've noticed that, like, you really, you've been doing a lot of different things. You've been just, your mindset's different. You've been talking differently. Your actions are different. Like, I noticed that and I appreciate it. Like, I see the growth. I see the growth happening. Like, keep up the good work.
And you can reward and celebrate for less than $5. So you hit a milestone, let's rent a movie. I mean, it doesn't have to be big, but I do think it's important to recognize and celebrate milestones.
Yeah, and it's free to recognize it.
It's free to recognize
that's
it,
the beautiful thing. Like,
right.
We don't even have to do that. Like, recognize it, smile, give them a hug, and just say, like, good job, keep it up. Like, that doesn't cost anything, and
Right.
with a smile on your face, that smile costs nothing. And that can help a lot of people, more than you think,
Right.
It might literally, a smile and a kind word can change someone's entire day. You can run into a stranger on the street, and, like, that's the selfless act of service that I wish everyone in the world would do, right? Like, and so that's what I want to do. I want to be the change that I want to see in the world. I need to be that change if I want to see it, and hopefully it'll play a domino effect. And that's what I can do, is hold a door for someone, help a lady with her groceries. Like, these little actions that help hopefully cause a ripple effect, so it makes that person's day a little bit better, and maybe they do it to somebody else. And that's the goal, is just to be a decent human being, and respect everybody and them as individuals, and hopefully it has an impact,
Yeah, I mean, you change a man, you can start to change a home. You change a home, start to change a community.
Right, exactly.
Goes
exactly.
uphill.
But it starts with us.
It starts with us.
It starts with us.
So what's the next steps?
Next steps for me? Keep following his will, man, by any righteous means necessary. I'll be honest with you, and I had a struggle this week. My son had a mental health struggle. He's 17, he's a senior in high school, and it wasn't a great situation, but and I'm out here in Indiana now. I made it out. I was debating whether or not I was going to make it out or not. And but I know when I have an event coming up, or I have somewhere to go, to speak life over people or to encourage people, like, that's the gift that God gave me now. And I know he wants me to use it for him, but at the same time, I know the devil wants it just as bad.
Right.
So there's an internal tug of war going on constantly. So if he knows that my mindset is where I will not let you win, you're not going to get it. It's already belongs to God. Like, he's going to try to use everything and everyone around me, the closest ones to me, to get me outside of myself and put that aside. And, so I have to be kind of cautiously selfish, I guess to say, in an aspect, because the situation where it is now, it's kind of out of my control. So it's a weekend. He's at a safe place, which is what matters most. So he's safe, he's taken care of, and I'm obligated, and I made a promise to God, like, I will do this till the day they bury me, and I will give you the glory for all of it. Just keep opening those doors, and I'll continue to walk through them and do the best that I possibly can. And, that's why I'm here today, and I could give you a dozen reasons why mentally I could have talked myself out of it, which was him giving me reason and self-doubt and fear and, but you have home situations going on. But, I just made sure everything was taken care of, and is in this, safest manner it can be. And I take a 10-hour drive out here, it's his will, not my, I got to follow it.
Yeah, self-talk is powerful.
Oh my gosh. And I'll tell you, man, and, I can sit and motivate people, I can inspire people, I can talk to these people, I can tell people all these things. But the most powerful words are not the ones I tell anyone. It's what you tell yourself at the end of the day, period. And it starts the very first thing in the morning. It starts the minute you get up, the minute you wake up. Like, your first words out of your mouth should be thank you. Period. Exactly. Every day we wake up, whether you were, in recovery or still suffering, or whether or not you have any human being, should be the first words out of your mouth should be gratitude, and be thankful, because a lot of people are going to go to sleep tonight thinking that they have a tomorrow to wake up to, and they're not going to wake up. you know, and that's just a sad truth. You know, we
Yeah,
don't
every day's a gift.
we don't exactly. That's
Yeah,
why they
there's
call it
no
the present. Yeah,
guarantees, right.
Yeah, exactly. Like we don't. Tomorrow's just an idea. It doesn't exist until it becomes today, and it's the present. You know, so we love to put things off. We love to do these things, but it's not guaranteed. Like, what are we doing right now? What are we doing with our time right now? Because that's all that truly matters.
This is a great segue too. So in closing, what do you want to be remembered for?
Oh man, I want to be remembered as someone who just never quit. I want to be remembered as someone that had a level of resilience and grit that no matter what came my way, I have the best cut man in my corner. I got God in my corner, you know, like, and I want to be remembered for just never giving up and just selfless service, to be able to give back to anyone who's struggling and just encourage growth and try to empower people and really just spread love, tolerance, and kindness, man. You know, I think the biggest thing I want to go viral in this world. You know, things going viral is such a big thing now, right? Social medias and all these things and
Right.
things. I just want love to go viral. That's it. That's it.
That's
I
that
just-
Philly coming out on you.
That's it, man.
City of brotherly love.
Yeah. And it's sad there's not a lot of it there.
Right.
But that's what I want, man. I want love to go viral. That's it. And I want to be remembered for trying to leave a footprint and a handprint and leaving a legacy behind of trying my best to do that. And that's it. And I'd be content with that.
Folks, all his links will be in the show description. I encourage you to check him out, follow him, and support him through his ministries and his mission, and buy his book, and you know, we'll see what he's got up his sleeve for next time.
Yeah, the best is yet to come, guys.
All right.
Thank
Hey,
you so much.
thank you.
Thank you.